is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, reports of a U.S. extradition request against Pastor Apollo C. Quiboloy blasted as black propaganda and a publicity stunt by a former Malacanang Palace official. Vice President Sara tells President Marcos Jr., take full control of the national budget and keep politics out of it. As war rages on, Ukraine sends a new envoy to Washington, a move to strengthen diplomatic bonds. Beneath the waters of the Asia-Pacific, Russian and Chinese submarines conduct their first ever joint patrol. America is mourning once again, flags at half-mast as a deadly school shooting in Minnesota claims young lives and reignites the gun violence debate. I'm Fatima Nawzil. Newsline World starts now. A former palace official is questioning reports of a U.S. extradition request against Pastor Apollo C. Quiboloy, calling it a PR tactic to sway public opinion while his cases remain pending in local courts. Let's find out more in MJ Mondijar's report.
Yung kay Pastor Quiboloy, definitely it is a communications strategy. Pero hindi siya related sa flood control. Ang tingin ko, yung ginagawa nila is related more to his case.
That was the assessment of former Press Secretary Attorney Trixie Cruz Angeles on the sudden emergence of an alleged extradition request from the United States government against Pastor Apollo C. Quiboloy. She says the issue appears to be a public relations or PR stunt, possibly done out of desperation.
It is entirely possible na, alam nyo yon, may nararamdaman na ang prosecution that they might have an uphill battle, kumbaga. Baka hindi sila umabot sa quantum of evidence.
Extradition is the process where one country requests another to surrender an individual facing charges or serving a sentence so that the person may be tried or held accountable for a crime. In the Philippines, extradition cannot be immediately carried out if the accused still has an active case or sentence in the country. The trial or sentence must first be completed before reopening the request. In this way, the jurisdiction of local courts is respected before complying with an agreement with another country.
Remember, active yung case ni Pastor. Tapos maglalabas ng ganyang information. Of course, people will be forced to think na, meron pa pala siyang ibang kaso, meron palang ibang kaso sa US, meron palang request for extradition.
The Department of Justice and the Department of Foreign Affairs earlier said they have not received any formal extradition request from the US government.
Maglalabas ka lang ng ganyan because you think that it's going to be prejudicial to the case of Pastor Quiboloy. So ang tingin ko dito is maybe the prosecution might be struggling with their quantum of evidence, so kailangan nila ng public perception na mas mabigat.
She argues that the supposed extradition issue is black propaganda meant to weaken Pastor Apollo, a known ally of the Duterte family, while his legal battles are ongoing. Cruz Angeles believes that the narrative is being used to shape up public opinion ahead of any court decision.
I think maybe we're heading for an acquittal. This is me, this is an opinion. It's possible that it's heading for an acquittal and they want to head off public opinion on this.
For Ganwebel of Philippines, MJ Mondijar, SMNI News.
In the United States, President Donald Trump has ordered flags at the White House and federal buildings flown at half-mast after a deadly school shooting in Minneapolis. Authorities say 23-year-old Robin Westman opened fire inside the Annunciation Catholic School Chapel during morning mass, killing 2 children aged 8 and 10 before taking his own life. The Federal Bureau of Investigation quickly responded while the White House urged Americans to pray for the victims. The incident adds to the grim toll of gun violence in America, with over 630 mass shootings recorded in 2024, averaging nearly 2 every day. U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention data also show firearm-related deaths topped 48,000 in 2022, now one of the leading causes of death among U.S. children and teens. In Pakistan, rescue teams in Lahore are scrambling as swollen rivers threaten to engulf nearby communities. The flood danger has reached critical levels, prompting urgent warnings for families to move to higher ground. Jillian Gutierrez reports.
Authorities in Pakistan are issuing urgent flood warnings after days of relentless monsoon rains. Rivers in Punjab are overflowing, forcing thousands to evacuate. New footage shows that Ravi River is spilling over its banks in Lahore, with rescue teams racing to move people out of danger. Officials say water levels have surged past 230,000 cusecs, a critical mark that poses deadly risks to anyone on the riverbed.
पानी का लेवल है वो इस वक्त तकरीबन 2,30,000 से ज़ायद है और जो है ऑब्वियसली उस वेले ने भी यहाँ से गुजर के जाना है तो अलबत्ता जो रिवर बेड के अंदर लोग बैठे हुए हैं उनसे गुजारिश है कि वो यहाँ से उठ जाएं और जो है वो किसी महफूज मुकाम की तरफ मुंतकिल हो जाए.
The National Disaster Management Authority has placed crews on high alert, warning of exceptional flood threats along the Chenab, Ravi and Sutlej rivers. Residents in low-lying areas are being urged to leave immediately. Pakistan has also accused India of releasing water from dams upstream, worsening the crisis, though Delhi has yet to respond. Meanwhile, on the Indian side, heavy rains have triggered flooding in Jammu and Kashmir, adding to the region's growing monsoon toll. Jillian Gutierrez, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
In Rajasthan, floodwaters rip open villages, leaving homes destroyed and families in urgent need of relief. Details of this report from Virhil Parba.
Heavy rains in Sawai Madhopur district, Rajasthan, caused the Surwal Dam to overflow this week, leading to severe flooding and soil erosion that cut 2-kilometer-long crater through nearby villages. Officials said a 30-meter wide and 17-meter deep ditch damaged farmland, homes, shops, temples, and bore wells in Jadawata village. Residents reported widespread crop losses and destruction of agricultural land. Video from the scene showed submerged houses, waterlogged fields, and villagers wading through floodwaters as rescue teams and heavy machinery worked to clear the area. Authorities have relocated affected families to temporary shelters. Disaster Relief Minister Dr. Kirodi Lal Meena and members of Parliament Harish Chandra Meena inspected the site, pledging compensation and directing officials to expedite drainage and relief efforts. This is Virhil Parba, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Coming up, as war rages on, Ukraine sends a new envoy to Washington, a move to strengthen diplomatic fronts. And beneath the waters of the Asia-Pacific, Russian and Chinese submarines conduct their first ever joint patrol. Newsline World will be back after the break.
In 2005, Pastor Apollo C. Quiboloy founded the Sunshine Philippines movement. A mission rooted in love for nature and nation. It began as an environmental and humanitarian initiative to reforest Mount Apo. Once barren, now a thriving and beautiful place. Through his initiative, thousands of trees have been planted across the Philippines, bringing life and hope to communities. His advocacy, One Tree, One Nation, is also a movement that calls for unity in preserving the environment. Because every tree planted is a step towards unity, healing, and a greater future. Join One Tree, One Nation.
For the first time, Russian and Chinese submarines have carried out a joint patrol in the Asia-Pacific. Footage released by Moscow shows vessels docking in Vladivostok after completing patrols in the Sea of Japan and the East China Sea. Russia's defense ministry says the mission aimed to boost naval cooperation, secure economic facilities, and promote stability in the region. The patrol follows similar surface missions that began in 2021 and have since become an annual practice. This year's operations also included warships from both navies. Officials did not provide the exact timing of the footage, and so it cannot be independently verified.
Sa panahon ng tagulan, hindi lang baha at ulan ang dapat bantayan, kundi pati na rin ang mga sakit na pwedeng makahawa. At dahil ngayon ay rainy season, nagbabala ang Department of Health laban sa tinatawag na wild diseases. 4 na klase ng sakit na karaniwang nakukuha ng tao tuwing maulan. Ito ang W o waterborne diseases gaya ng pagdudumi o gastroenteritis. I o influenza-like illnesses gaya ng sipon, ubo at lagnat. L o leptospirosis na maaaring makuha mula sa ihi ng mga daga sa baha. At D o dengue na dala ng mga lamok. Kapag baha, mas mabilis kumalat ang mikrobyo, kaya't ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at agad maligo matapos lumusong sa baha. Ano ang dapat gawin para maiwasan ang wild diseases? Tumutok sa weather updates. Magsuot ng kapote at bota. Siguraduhing malinis ang iniinom na tubig. Agad kumonsulta sa health center kung may nararamdamang sintomas. Mainam din gawin ang 40 o taob, taktak, tuyo at takip para maiwasan ang dengue sa bahay at komunidad. Maglinis, magmasid, mag-ingat. Labanan ng wild diseases ngayong tag-ulan. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
Anything that happens in your life right now. As long as you hold on to the Father, stand strong. That is faith. So whatever you are undergoing now, believe that in the end, it will be the Father's will that will happen in your life. And that He will see you through as long as you hold on to Him. At the end, it will be all right because you will win. You will have the victory.
Don't look back at old conflicts that make you bitter. The sign of a great mind is you forget the grudges done against you. Forget the past and get on with profitable living. Time is running, and let us look at the present of what we can do and then hope God for the future of what God can do and the desires in our heart that God will be able to do for us.
For the first time, Russian and Chinese submarines have carried out a joint patrol in the Asia-Pacific. Footage released by Moscow shows vessels docking in Vladivostok after completing patrols in the Sea of Japan and the East China Sea. Russia's defense ministry says the mission aimed to boost naval cooperation, secure economic facilities, and promote stability in the region. The patrol follows similar surface missions that began in 2021 and have since become an annual practice. This year's operations also included warships from both navies. Officials did not provide the exact timing of the footage, and so it cannot be independently verified. Meanwhile, a bus crash on Afghanistan's Kabul-Kandahar highway has left dozens dead and injured, with authorities blaming driver negligence. Almar Farsuelo has more on this story.
Tragedy struck Afghanistan's Kabul-Kandahar highway Tuesday evening when a crowded passenger bus overturned, leaving at least 25 people dead and 27 others injured. The Interior Ministry said the crash happened west of Kabul, blaming driver negligence for the accident. Authorities confirmed that the vehicle was carrying more than 50 passengers when it overturned. Residents who rushed to the site described scenes of devastation with bloody clothes and debris scattered around the wreckage. A traffic accident officer said rescuers pulled victims from inside the bus as locals helped transport the dead and injured to the hospitals before officials arrived.
مخکې خلک رسیدلی ول مازپین هغوی وړي ول مختلفو شفاخانو ته نو موږ سره راغلو موټر هم جیک په کې رنګ باندې بیا زیات اندازه بیا موږ تر وېسل دا ګوره په دې حالت باندې نو مجروحین هم ول فاوت هم تقریبا یو 15 کم زیات بس فاوت ول کې نو مجروحین هم زیات تقریبا 350 نفر له هلمند د حرکت سره کړی وو دوی سره راکبین ول.
The deadly crash highlights the rising toll of road accidents in Afghanistan. Just days earlier, 79 people lost their lives in a separate highway collision in Herat province. Reporting for Newsline World, Almar Farsuelo, SMNI News.
Ukraine has a new ambassador to the United States. President Volodymyr Zelensky announced Olga Stefanishina's official appointment during his address in Kyiv on Wednesday.
Щойно говорив з Ольгою Стефанішиною, тепер вже новим послом України в Сполучених Штатах Америки. Формальні процедури завершені. Сьогодні я підписав указ про призначення посла. Визначив ключові завдання для оновлення роботи нашого посольства. І головне – реалізувати повністю всі домовленості з Вашингтону. Домовленості наші з президентом Трампом. І передусім в оборонній сфері. Багато в чому саме від відносин з Америкою залежить довготривале гарантування безпеки України.
Stefanishina, who previously served as Ukraine's Vice Prime Minister for European and Euro-Atlantic integration, has been acting as a special presidential envoy to strengthen ties with the U.S. since mid-July. From family moments to political battles, acting Davao City Mayor Sebastian Baste Duterte shared updates on his father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, describing him in good spirits with his grandchildren, while also calling on supporters to stand by him as he faces proceedings at the International Criminal Court. This report from Jason Rubrico.
Kayo, Mayor Baste.
Davao City Acting Mayor Sebastian Baste Duterte once again visited his father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, this time bringing along his children. And Mayor Baste shared that the former president was in good spirits after seeing them.
Masaya naman siya kasi yung pinapasok yung apo niya.
Ay, okay.
Yung anak ko na maliit na 4 years old. So medyo in good spirit siya ngayon na nakita niya yung apo niya na babae. Yung isa rin na 11 years old.
The former president also advised Mayor Baste to start preparing for the children's future, urging him to invest in their education.
Dapat daw bumili na ako ng college plan para sa mga bata para paglaki hindi na gagastos. Tama naman. So, yun more on sa education ng mga apo niya. Yung pinag-usapan namin.
Meanwhile, Mayor Baste called on supporters of former President Duterte to gather in The Hague on the day of the confirmation of charges hearing. This coincides with a scheduled protest rally by several groups against the former president.
Inaamo nila tayo na they will, gather, they will congregate to make a demonstration, then we will also accept the challenge. Yung mga interesado, if you want to fight for former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, be here in The Hague. We will gather ourselves peacefully and show all the support that we can. Our strength is in our numbers.
Baste says he hopes to see his father return home a free man and encouraged Filipinos to keep their faith that the former president's campaign against drugs and corruption will push through in the name of genuine change. For God and by beloved Philippines, I am Jason Rubrico, SM9 News.
Coming up, with the Gaza conflict still raging, high-level talks are underway in Washington as U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio meets Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar to discuss security and strategy. And the vampire legend returns to the spotlight. The Twilight saga teases a comeback with a new project, sending fans into frenzy as their favorite characters come back for another bite. Stay tuned for more news.
Madalas ka bang napapasobra sa pag-scroll sa phone mo kahit puro masasamang balita ang nakikita mo? Isipin mo ito. Nakahiga ka na sa kama, nagche-check lang ng phone bago matulog. Tapos, hindi mo na malayan, ilang oras ka na palang nagbabasa at nanonood ng mga balita tungkol sa digmaan, sakuna, politika at lahat ng masasamang nangyayari sa mundo. Nakakaramdam ka na ng kaba at pagod, pero tuloy mo pa rin ang scroll mo. Ang tawag dyan ay doom scrolling. Ito ang habit ng paulit-ulit na pagtingin sa mga negatibo o nakaka-depress na content tulad ng digmaan, krimen o problema sa mundo. Nakaka-stress pero hindi mo pa rin mapigilan. Ayon sa isang pag-aaral ng Texas Tech University, ang sobrang konsumo ng masasamang balita ay nauugnay sa pagtaas ng stress, anxiety at pisikal na sintomas gaya ng pagkapagod at sakit ng ulo. Ayon naman sa Harvard Health, ang doom scrolling ay nagpapataas ng fight or flight hormones tulad ng cortisol at adrenaline na nakakapagpabigat ng isip at katawan. Nakakaapekto ito sa iyong mood, tulog at maging sa mental at physical health mo. At kapag naman puro memes at random na content ang pinapanood mo ng sunod-sunod hanggang sa mawalan ka na ng gana na mag-isip at gumawa ng iba pang gawain, ang tawag naman dyan ay brain rot. Sa Gen Z at tinatawag na internet culture, ang brain rot ay overconsumption o sobrang tagal na panonood ng paulit-ulit, mababaw, magulo o walang saysay na content online hanggang sa parang manhid na ang utak mo. Kapag nasobrahan, syempre, nakakasama. Nawawalan ka na ng focus, nawawala ang motivation, hirap mag-isip ng malalim, parang lutang o foggy ang utak. Masaya sa simula, pero kapag sobra, napapagod ang isip mo. Nahihirapang mag-concentrate at parang lutang. Mas delikado pa ito sa mga bata dahil ang utak nila ay nasa proseso pa ng pag-develop. Kaya mas malakas ang epekto ng doom scrolling at brain rot sa kanila. Maaaring makaapekto sa pag-aaral, pag-iisip at pakikitungo sa iba. Ang higit sa 4 na oras ng screen time araw-araw sa mga kabataan ay konektado sa 35 to 88% na mas mataas na posibilidad ng depresyon, anxiety at stress. Base ito sa isang malawakang pag-aaral sa Brazil. Kaya, maging balanse. Magpahinga sa screen, magbasa, makipagkwentuhan, magdasal, maging present lagi. Alagaan ang iyong isipan. Kung anong itinatanim sa isipan mo, yun ang lalago.
High-level talks on regional security are underway in Washington as U.S. and Israeli officials meet to coordinate strategies amid the ongoing conflict in Gaza. Joy Tabanao has more on this.
United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio met Israel Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar in Washington on Wednesday for talks centered on Gaza and broader regional security concerns. The meeting, held at the State Department, came as President Donald Trump prepares consultations with senior officials on post-war Gaza strategies. According to reports, Rubio and Sa'ar discussed security cooperation, regional stability, and developments involving Lebanon, Iran, and Syria. Sa'ar, who took office as Israel's top diplomat earlier this year, highlighted the importance of close U.S.-Israel coordination against regional threats. A State Department statement said Rubio reiterated Washington's unwavering commitment to Israel's security while stressing the need to avoid further escalation in Gaza. The discussions took place against the backdrop of the ongoing Israel-Hamas war, which began on October 7, 2023, when Hamas launched attacks on southern Israel that killed more than 1,000 people and led to the capture of over 200 hostages, according to Israel officials. In response, Israel's military operations in Gaza have killed at least 62,800 Palestinians and injured more than 158,900, according to Gaza's health ministry. Joy Tabanao, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
To keep rice prices steady and ensure food security, President Marcos Jr. is releasing at least 100,000 metric tons of locally harvested rice through a public auction this week. The Department of Agriculture will roll out around 1.2 million bags, enough to cover roughly 100,000 metric tons. Prices at the auction will range from 25 to 28 pesos per kilo, depending on the rice's age. Officials say the move also helps clear storage facilities ahead of the incoming harvest. The government will also allocate rice under the Benteng Bigas Mayroon Na program, providing eligible beneficiaries with rice at 20 pesos per kilo, though the exact volume has yet to be announced. Earlier, Marcos Jr. ordered a 60-day suspension of rice imports starting September 1, aiming to protect local farmers from price drops during the peak harvest season. For sports update, Portugal finally ended an 18-year wait at Eurobasket. At Celtic center, Nemanja Skete powered them to a 62-50 win over the Czech Republic with a dominant debut performance. Meanwhile, in tennis, Carlos Alcaraz advanced to the third round of the US Open on Wednesday, overpowering Italy's Mattia Bellucci in straight sets 6-1, 6-0, 6-3. Here's Carlo de la Peña for more of our sports news.
Portugal claimed its first Eurobasket victory since 2007, defeating the Czech Republic 62-50, with Celtic center Nemanja Skete posting 23 points and 18 rebounds. In Tampere, Lauri Markkanen dropped 28 points to lift Finland past Sweden 93-90. Host Latvia suffered a 93-73 loss to Turkey, led by Sedi Osman's 20 points and a strong outing from Alperen Şengün. Serbia rolled to a 98-64 win over Estonia, with Nikola Jovic and Nikola Jokic steering the charge. Germany pulled away in the second half to rout Montenegro 106-76 behind Franz Wagner's 22 points and Dennis Schroeder's 21. Lithuania also opened strong, beating Britain 94-70 as Jonas Valanciunas finished with 18 points. Meanwhile, Carlos Alcaraz advanced to the third round of the US Open with a commanding 6-1, 6-0, 6-3 victory over Italy's Mattia Bellucci. The 2022 champion broke serve 7 times, struck 32 winners, and did not face a single break point in the match at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Alcaraz admitted he carried memories of last year's second-round exit, but said he was happy with his solid performance, despite areas he still wants to improve. The world number 2 sealed the win with his trademark golf swing celebration and will next face Italian Luciano Dadderi in the third round. This has been Carlo de la Peña bringing you the latest sports news.
From K-pop idols slaying demons on the big screen to vampires making a comeback, it's a blockbuster week in entertainment. Netflix K-pop Demon Hunters is rewriting box office history worldwide, while Twilight fans are buzzing again after a cryptic teaser hints the saga may rise from the shadows. Here's Cherilyn Lanillo for more on this showbiz updates.
Netflix is making box office history with K-pop Demon Hunters, the action fantasy about a girl group battling demons. The animated film has become Netflix's first #1 global box office hit, pulling in an estimated $16 to $18 million in ticket sales. Blending K-pop performances with dazzling fight scenes, the movie has won over both Korean entertainment fans and mainstream audiences, with glowing reviews, viral dance challenges, and a star-studded idol cast. It's smashing records and fueling calls for sequels and spin-offs, a clear sign the Hallyu wave is reshaping cinema in 2025. Get ready, Twilight fans! The saga is sparkling back to life. The official Twilight Instagram account set the fandom ablaze on August 27 with a cryptic post, "Forever begins again." Fueling speculation of a long-anticipated reboot, the tease has reignited debates over the iconic Team Edward versus Team Jacob rivalry and stirred fresh theories online. First released in 2008, the 5-film franchise, based on Stephanie Meyer's best-selling novels, became a global phenomenon, grossing more than $3.3 billion and catapulting its stars Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, and Taylor Lautner into superstardom. Whether you're Team Edward, Team Jacob, or just here for the drama, one thing is certain: the vampires are back for another bite. This is Cherilyn Lanillo, your citizen correspondent, bringing you the latest show buzz.
Goodbye to college-bound kids is never easy, but one mom found a heartfelt way to turn that moment into something unforgettable. A creative surprise for her son is now touching hearts around the world, reminding parents and children alike that farewells can be just as full of love as they are of tears. Here's Val Divina Grasha for the story.
More than 71 million views on TikTok in less than a week. 18-year-old Ben Schramm, a rising freshman at Loyola University, Chicago, shared an emotional video that shows him walking out of his room only to discover his childhood photos, toys, and teddy bears carefully arranged in the hallway, along with handwritten notes that read, "We love you and good luck in college." Ben wrote in a video caption, "All my childhood toys came to say bye." The scene has drawn comparisons to Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 3, where Andy lines up his beloved toys before parting ways with them. Ben said he had forgotten that those teddy bears even existed, and the moment was both shocking and deeply moving. His mom, Kathy Schramm, spent weeks preparing the surprise. She carefully chose photos from Ben's birth to his high school graduation and gathered 20 to 30 of his most beloved stuffed animals, from Mickey Mouse to Minions. For Kathy, the gesture was more than nostalgia. It was her way of showing love and solidarity with other parents facing the bittersweet milestone of sending their children off to college. What started as one mom's creative farewell has become a viral reminder of the enduring bond between parents and children, proving that goodbyes, though emotional, can be filled with love, joy, and gratitude. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Valdivina Gracia, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the song. When you sacrifice for a notable cause, the Father will prosper you. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Fatima Nawzil. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.